Hello and welcome to this edition of the show. This is where I stop slumping and sit up straight so I don't look slouchy. I'm your host, Brian Mallard, for the show. We got Tim over there behind the desk over there.
Hello, I'm here.
And we have Sabra.
Hello.
How are you doing, Sabra? Great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Sabra is a woman of many talents, or at least a lot of sticks in the fire. But let's go back, start at the beginning. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Where were you born?
I was born in Alabama, but I don't claim that. I was born there, but then I was kind of raised all over the place. I kind of a gypsy, I guess. Not military. My dad, I should say, not family. My dad liked to travel a lot and do different things. He was pretty adventurous, so I was raised on the road.
Cool. That's awesome. So what'd your dad do?
He was kind of a man of all trades as well. He could do pretty much anything from electrical, refrigeration, building, gardening, everything. He also played piano and sang, and so we just kind of went wherever the wind blew us.
That's cool. What about your mom?
She was along for the ride.
Awesome. That sounds like a fun life.
For me, I don't know about Mom.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
Now, were they artistic?
My dad, like I said, my dad played the piano. I wouldn't say that I came from a particularly artistic background as you would think of art, really.
Right.
But and my mom says all the time, "Oh, I'm not creative," but she's really good at refinishing furniture and doing things like that. So in my mind, that's art. It's just not painting, drawing, or writing. But
right.
You know, this must be a woman thing because my wife is absolutely great at that.
Yeah.
Refinishing
Yes,
furniture?
and you know, I hate to admit it because I'm the man of the family and I'm supposed to know all this.
Yeah,
but
they're sanding down the table.
Yeah.
I don't know half of it. My wife just, oh, wait, let me do this. And so I can
Yeah.
understand.
My
Yeah, you
mom's
have to do what you have to do.
good at that. Sewing, she would sew me clothes all the time.
Nice.
And curtains and reupholster furniture and things like that. So, yeah.
Cool. Now, you are let me look at the list here. You are a musician, a singer-songwriter, a painter, a fitness instructor, a worker. You have numerous things going on, and you're a writer.
Yes.
So we're gonna delve into the
Bartender?
Bartender.
Yes.
Bartender superstar is what.
No, I've got to go into that later on because I used to work in bars myself. Let me just ask you, do you find that you meet better characters behind the bar or in front of the bar?
Definitely in front.
Yeah, in front?
Yeah.
Oh, man. When I was doing bar back, I saw the strangest people.
Well, yeah, this is true. But the bar that I work at is very small. So I meet a lot of people from very diverse backgrounds and lifestyles at the bar.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
It is. It's,
I've had people that claim to be famous drummers for famous bands, but they came in with one tooth and no shoes.
yeah.
So it's like, okay. And then, you know.
That's that alcoholic libation talking.
It's like, excuse me, you need to go get your shoes on, then we'll talk.
Yeah, and put your dentures in.
Yeah.
So let's start with the, okay. It's hard to know which subject to start with because there are many. We're going to get to some of it in segment 2, but let's talk a little bit about your music, because even though you're not right now actively playing out, you still have music for sale.
I
and
do.
What got you into music to begin with?
I think I've always been interested in music because I have a father who plays the piano and he sang a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I always wanted, and I was raised in the church, so I always wanted to be on stage, and that for me was church.
Right.
So, you know, I wanted to sing and all that, and so from that it broadened into other other places, but it was just from my dad.
And what is your muse? What do you write from?
I honestly write. I have to be very emotional to write. I write from. I mean, like I see things that inspire me. Movies. I'll read books. Life experience. People that I meet and things like that. But for the most part, it's I just, it'll rain and I'll feel emotional.
Right.
And something, and I like to write. Writing is my thing. I listen to lyrics in other songs, and so I'm very much into I just kind of get into that feeling, and then it just flows.
Right. Yeah, and emotions will do a lot. Luminous Woman, I got 4 good albums out of that.
Yeah.
So it does work. Now, let's go to the other part of your writing. You are writing a novel, which we're going to get more in depth about soon. But what got you into writing sci-fi?
Excuse me. I started writing books when I was a child. And I am a published author in magazines.
Cool.
So I kind of started in article form. I always liked writing. I have dyslexia pretty bad, and so I think my mind thinks differently.
Right.
And I kind of have an entire world inside of my head that it's just crazy, and so I think that's where the sci-fi part came in, because I just kind of create weird and unusual situations.
Well, somebody who's at home in the normal day-to-day is not going to write an interesting book. You got to have somebody that's out there a little bit. What got you into being interested in fitness?
Well, I was raised, like I said, on the road. We did not go out to eat. We didn't have a lot of money.
Right.
And so everything that we did was very imaginative, maybe. A lot of homemade things, campfire cooking and things like that.
Yeah.
So I was raised very healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a vegan from birth.
Right.
So from that, I started doing a lot of reading and a lot of research, and it started there and just kind of transformed into the physical aspect of it and how eating affects your everyday living, spiritually, mentally, physically, in all aspects of your life. And so it just kind of evolved from that.
That's interesting. And, it's literal truth. You are what you eat.
Yeah.
Your body is built from what you consume. McDonald's.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. You wear what you put in.
You do. And finally, before we go to break, let's tell me about what got you started into painting.
Well, that's very different for me. There's no background in that. I had met a woman, and it's only been probably a year and a half. And she was telling me, she's like, we should do a girls' night out. It's like, okay. So she was telling me about Brushes and Beverages, I think it's called, downtown. Yeah. And she was like, we should go. So I went, and I'd never in my life painted.
Right.
And I went and just loved it. So I was like, we have to go again. Yeah. So we started going every month just to kind of get away from kids and everything.
Right.
And I would say either second or third painting in, someone walked in and tried to buy it from me.
Wow.
And so then I started painting at home. Mm-hmm. And within months of starting that, I sold about $2,500 worth of paintings.
Wow.
And I don't have any experience or background. It's just kind of went.
Well, you've got it. I mean, you clearly put something on the canvas that people want, and I've been impressed. I've seen what you put on Facebook. If you are a follower of Sabra, you every now and then you'll post a painting, and I've been very impressed. I've loved it. I mean, that stuff.
Thank you.
I would buy.
It helps too, because I got to show us your guns. This helps too when you have guns like this, ladies and gentlemen.
She has guns, ladies and
You're
gentlemen.
going to buy this. Okay?
Don't make me come over there.
And, I know we're going to look at some of her paintings in the next segment before we go to commercial. But one thing I want to comment on is I'd actually looked on her Facebook feed, and her kids, she's at the point right now where kids are actually going into painting. I saw a couple that your daughter had done, and they were pretty neat.
Yeah.
So, if any of you guys in Columbus are going out there, the kids are trying to raise money for, school projects.
Yes.
Get in touch with her. They got some great paintings for sale.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you. Yeah, they do.
Now, before we go to a break, one question I want to ask. Out of all these things that you're doing, that you are into, which is the one or the two that speaks to you the most?
I would have to say the writing, whether that be songs, articles,
right,
poems, books, because I kind of disappear into a completely different world.
Right.
And once I sink into that other world, I become part of that world. And what I feel goes into what I write. I can put a lot into it.
I would think that the writing would probably be the thing, because you have two different avenues of writing, and that seems to be the strongest thing. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to go to a commercial. We're going to come back and look at some of her paintings and talk about her novels, and we'll be right back after this.
Come join us every week for Open Mic Thursdays at Fountain City Coffee with your host, Brian Mallard. Registration begins at 6:30. Show runs from 7 to 10. Uptown Columbus, where the vibe is. Timeless Beauty at the Gypsy Cherub, 3760 Woodruff Road, Columbus, Georgia. Class is back in style.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hello and welcome back to the show with special guest Show-Sabra Lucas, and we have she's brought some visual aids for her paintings, which we're going to show right now, and let her talk a little bit about them.
Before she goes into that, I was looking at one of the commercials, and I promised I was going to make this comment. One of the commercials we do is for the Gypsy Cherub,
right?
And I was talking with the owner the other day. And guys, if you're out, we really need you to go out. Not only support music locally, but support the local businesses, because they are having a really tough time. Yeah. And I brought that up due to the fact that I know a lot of Sabra's stuff is at. And I still pronounce your name wrong.
No, Sabra.
Sabra?
Yeah, you got
it.
Sabra. I get called Zebra and Deborah, so I'm okay with Sabra.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I know the feeling. Oh, my name gets mispronounced all the time. But a lot of her music, I'm not sure. Is there anything else up there?
She actually did ask me to bring some art over there, and right after she asked that, a lot of things happened in my life that I just kind of zoned out of all my artistic avenues and kind of started getting jobs and working and all that. So I have not got any over there, but I am planning on bringing some over there now, because I am putting that in my life again.
Cool. And I know it's not only her, but a lot of other local artists. So
right.
It's not just a plug, but personally, guys, stop by the Gypsy Cherub, because there's a lot of local stuff.
Yeah, I
up
love
there.
it there. It's a neat place.
It's a great store.
And it's networking, because if you're an artist of any kind, network with other other business owners, and that Yvonne is ready and willing to help out other artists, which is great.
Yeah, it is. So let's take a look at some of her paintings.
Tell us about this one, Sabra.
Okay. Can you see my face?
We were trying to decide which camera to get it in, because I was trying to.
Okay. Well, this right here is actually a watercolor painting, and I can't really.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Brian, go ahead and hold it up for.
This is of my ex-husband. It's actually the first watercolor I ever did. So, and when I went in to do it, the lady that was kind of coaching me, she kind of very nicely tried to tell me that I probably shouldn't do that. But at the same time, she was encouraging. So, yeah, that was a little fun, because what I'm used to doing is acrylic paint, and this was the opposite. So it was very challenging, but I kind of liked it. It was a lot of fun. And I think it turned out all right.
Yeah, it is. I like the shading on it, actually. That's,
thank you.
I guess, the hardest part to do, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because in my other paintings, I always kind of added, okay, like in the watercolor, your white, whatever white is in there, you have to imagine that before you paint, because you have to paint around the white.
Right.
So everything white has to remain. Whereas with my acrylic, I could add the white or I can move it around, and it's, really easy. So my white in there, where you can see where his collar, like in the in his face,
Right.
and in the collar, and just here, all of that had to be there originally. I had to work around it to add
So
it
you
in.
actually put the shading in first and then created it around
Kinda,
the
yeah.
Wow.
So that was very different, and for a first time painter without any kind of experience or professional professional experience, that was very challenging, but it was fun. I was up for the challenge, and I think it turned out all right.
I think
Yeah,
it turned out great.
Looks good. Looks great.
Thank you.
And it's interesting. It's something I've never thought of is with watercolor. Is like when it comes to white, you have to leave it white because you can't really mix something with water.
No.
It's going to be darker than white no matter what
you
you
have
do.
to. Yeah, if you want white, it's got to be there from the beginning.
And we have this one. I'm not sure direction that goes in, but let me hold this up in front of my face.
Yeah, there we go. That's that was just something I kind of tend to not really have a plan when I
closer to the camera.
paint.
Oh,
So it was just an evening, and I wanted something with. I start with colors. I have a color in mind, and I kind of go from there, and it just kind of evolved into that. But I wanted something passionate and something that initially, when you look at it, you see two people, but then you can kind of create whatever kind of story you want to with it. And so it was pretty fun. It was an evening where I was kind of taking some time away from kids.
Gotcha. Okay. No, actually, I look at this, and there's things that I've never looked at when Sabra's talking about it. She says, hey, I wanted to show some passion in it, so therefore I've never even equated the red with, is what she wanted to evoke.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah, I mean,
it's interesting.
red is oftentimes, or is always said, it goes with passion, love, and all that. You got red roses, red hearts, and so yeah. I mean, without really consciously thinking that, I just, I did the red and the black, and I feel like it evokes some of that feeling in the painting.
It does. This is actually one of my favorites.
It is. Even though I saw Star Trek yesterday, and Captain Kirk got beat, and it was pretty red too. But I seriously doubt they were going for
super passionate in a completely different
I don't
way.
think they're going for passion on that deal.
So yeah, and I from the beginning when I started painting, I did a lot of blues. I like blue. I'm a huge fan of the sea and nature, and so I feel like blue is very relaxing, and I do painting to relax. So after a while, I started realizing all of my paintings were blue, but I don't care. That blue to me is a good neutral color, and so I have looked at a lot of different pictures, and there's Picasso. I think he's a really great artist, and I don't necessarily want to copy him, but he definitely inspires me. So I like the big, simple, like the bold outlines with the shading on the inside,
yeah.
and it's not a lot of detail. I'm not a real detailed painter as far as this goes, but it leaves a lot of room for imagination, which is kind of what I was going for. Something real spacey.
Right.
Yeah, that actually kind of reminds me either for a grown woman or in the womb type thing.
It could
Yeah.
be either, yeah.
Yeah,
See, that's
so-
what I'm saying. It leaves a lot of room for imagination, and
It
I like that.
does.
There's no specifics. And this one's one of my favorites because I love mermaids. I like to believe that there are actually mermaids. So this is a picture that I did of one of my favorite. This is one of my favorites. Just her looking out at the sea, the beach, anything beachy, anything sea, mermaids. It's kind of my secret pleasure. So.
Well, so how do you choose the colors? And the reason I ask is I'm looking at the sky, and it's some green in the sky. Did you do that just to match with the rest of the painting, or is that just something that you just?
It just kind of happened. I just felt it. It's hard to explain. I just kind of feel like this color goes or this one doesn't. I just kind of do what I feel. It's not really a concrete thought process. I just paint what I feel, and I feel like the greens and the grays kind of that they're very emotional. Like you can see in the sky, it's definitely not a sunny, nice day. It's kind of
Right.
cloudy, and so I feel like it just kind of evokes that turmoil of, of the sea and of the sky and all, but she's sitting there peacefully because it's home for her. So you kind of have a mix of calm and turmoil all in one.
Which is cool.
Yeah, it is. It is. And what I'm going to ask: are any of these for sale, or
they are? If
or
someone
just a
wants
personal
to,
type thing that you like to keep?
No. The mermaid I really like, but if someone wants it, I will let it go.
She'll grudgingly part with it for some
The right price. The right price.
The
but
right
it's
price.
interesting. You're talking about like the feel. It just felt right, and it's similar with music because it's like, and it's actually a big point with like a lot of modern music where people, you hear a lot about how they don't put feeling in modern music that they used to put in old music, and it's not always the case. But painting and music are very similar in that nature.
Yeah, I don't really know a lot of technicalities when it comes to any of the art that I do. Writing, I haven't got a college degree in art.
Right.
So everything I do just comes from what I feel like fits there.
Right.
So, yeah, that's kind of the base of everything.
So let's go on to your novel.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about it.
That is very difficult to tell a little bit about a very big project. It actually took me 1 year to create my world before I started writing, if that makes any sense. It's a 3-part series. Book 1 is complete. Book 2 is in the making, and book 3 is outlined.
Right.
It's a sci-fi. It will probably reach female and male interest alike, but I would assume that it might be more of a interest in the male world just because it's not a love story.
Right.
But it's very detailed. Like I said, I created my own world. I got on the computer and I made an entire map. I made my own world, the measurements of the world.
Wow.
It has islands in it. It's a world of islands.
Cool.
And it is not our Earth at all, but it's not in space. It's just a world. Each island, I did the measurements, the climates, the culture. Each island is kind of like in our world, each country.
Right.
You got China and Japan, you got America. And so anyways, that's so each one has their own god, their own culture, their own trade, their own traditions, and everything like that. So I created all that and then a template of all of that and the distance between each island and how long it would take to travel from one to the other in a sail ship, because it's based on, even though I don't write it in the book because it's not in America, but in my mind I studied the 17th century kind of front to back because that was where I wanted it to.
I see.
So I did that for a year before I even started actually writing the book.
Wow.
And I'll give her a thumbs up just as long as she didn't put any Pokemon in it.
Yeah.
None of that.
That is extremely impressive. What is the most surface storyline?
It's basically about a rich boy who is a single, is an only child, and comes from a long line of kings. Mm-hmm. So he has a lot of expectations of him.
Right.
Loses his family, loses his love, loses everything, and he doesn't care about the money at all. He's had it all his life, and it's really not an interest to him. He built a ship with his father, and so the whole story is about him starting from his island, going across the world, and in search of a legend. Basically, they have beliefs and they have legends and stories, kind of like we do, of mermaids and
Sounds
pirates.
like you almost put in some Greek mythology in it.
Yeah, it has some of that in it, and but he's going out alone, and nobody is supportive at all because the place that he is searching for around the world, it is known as not real. It's a legend. It's just a story. So he's kind of laughed at because he's going off and it's dangerous. He has to go across the entire world alone in a ship facing pirates. And then I've created another creature that is, it is savage. It was 100% worse than a pirate. And so he has this to deal with, and nobody knows anything about them because anybody that has actually faced them never came back alive to tell about them. So they remain an absolute mystery.
Nice.
So, yeah, he's in search of this, and he's alone because everybody thinks he's crazy. But he believes it's there because his father believed it was there and his father before him. But there's a lot of mystery surrounding it and a lot of secrets and a lot of hush-hush. So there's nothing he can do to research it because there is nothing.
That is fascinating.
There's your next screenplay.
Right. Yeah, and I'm fascinated because I'm working on a sci-fi, zero-budget sci-fi movie. It's kind of like pulp sci-fi, but so it's of great interest to me. When can people expect to be able to get their
hands on a book?
Yeah.
Well, I took a break from it for a while after I was done writing book 1, and then like I said, life happened, and I had to, work and all that. But now I'm taking one of my 4 jobs. I'm actually going to be quitting soon, and I will be putting a lot of time into it. So I can't really put a date on it, but I do have an editor. I also have someone that's going to put me in touch with a publisher and an agent.
Nice.
So that should be around the corner. So I'm hoping within a year,
Very cool.
at least before or around the time of, about a year.
Mm-hmm.
It's a loose figure, but
You said this was book 2?
This is book 1.
Well, this is
I am
book
working
1.
on
Okay.
book 2. Book 1 should be out within about a year. But there's a lot. It's probably, I would say between 500 and 700 page book. It's a very big
Actually a
book.
novel then.
Yeah, it's a big book. So it'll take a while to get edited and all of that. But even if I don't get an agent to get it right away, I'm going to copyright it, and I am personally going to put it out on Amazon it'll be available.
Very
that
cool.
way. So I'm going to pre-release it.
Nice. I will be wanting a copy of that. 'Cause that sounds fascinating.
Be one of the first ones.
Now, we're going to come back to this in a little bit, but let's go over a little bit about your fitness thing, because you are a certified fitness trainer now.
I am.
Tell me a little bit about that road.
That is also, I have a lot of passions in life. It started actually with nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
I have a passion in eating healthy, and it's pretty much a fact that when you are vegan and you eat clean and you eat very healthy and drink lots of water and stay active, that you can add years to your life.
Right.
So, and I like life. I'm passionate about life. So why would I not pursue that?
She has a lot to get done.
I don't want to go anytime soon. So, it started with that. And even when I got my certification, I excelled in the nutrition more than the kinesiology of that, just because I have studied so much about nutrition. But I work out. I'm in the gym probably about an hour, give or take half an hour on both sides, depending on my schedule. 5 days a week.
Wow.
But in the beginning, I've been doing that for about 7 years. But in the beginning, I was a stay-at-home homeschool mom that lived 40 minutes out of town and could not go to the gym. So I started working out anywhere from 1 to 3 hours a day at home.
Wow.
And I did that for 6 days a week for about 6 or 7 years before I started going to the gym. And so I like the transformation. I like watching. And, you have to take pictures and measurements because you see yourself every day. So you don't see.
Right.
You can't see the difference. So I've done that throughout the whole time that I've been doing this. And I just like shaping my body. I've seen it go from super skinny to, to shaping like my upper body and then my lower body and my legs. Like I can see the transformation and I enjoy that. And I like helping other people do that because it's all about health to me. And it's not, you can be super, super muscular and very unhealthy.
That's true. That is.
And you can be, that you can't really judge the book by its cover when it comes to the physical body, because you can have someone that looks like they're not in shape, but very, very healthy because they do something 30 minutes a day, 6 days a week, and then you can have someone that's super buff but goes about it all the wrong way and is on steroids or eating only chicken and nothing else, or so. And I always tell my clients when I see them, I'm not putting you on a diet. It's a lifestyle. So we're just going to start drinking a lot of water, because a lot of people, they drink tons of sodas, coffees, like everything but water. So if you can just drink a lot of water and start working out, that's going to be where we're going to start.
Right.
Because if you get on a diet, a crazy diet, first of all, a diet has a time limit.
Right.
It's a start and a finish. And if you finish it, then where do you go from there? So you have to have it as a lifestyle. So I just start everybody slow, and it becomes a part of your life. And once that happens, then you just continue it, and it's you.
Right. Very cool.
Well, I'll say this too. My wife and I are the oldest two here in the building, and so therefore, and I can't believe I'm saying this on air, but we drink a lot of water. But then, being the age we are, our bladders tend to kind of like work very well. So
I think if you drink a lot of water, you're going to be visiting the bathroom quite frequently.
Oh yeah,
but that's the point. I mean, you got to clean yourself out, and that's what it sucks when you're out and about in town. And I will be the first to admit I don't always drink as much as I should every day, but as a general rule, even if you're going to go grab something to drink, even water.
Yeah, I've definitely put on some pounds this past year. I told her that I was going to get her to give me a few tips before she left because man, going up the stairs killed me, and I told her I was wheezing going up the stairs. So,
well, do it 2 or 3 times a day.
I drink a lot of water. It's just always infused with tea and sugar. I'll tell you what, let's go to a commercial. Tim, roll that beautiful footage. I can't use the word being because I'll get sued. But anyway, let's go to commercial. We'll be back after this.
Hello, I'm Catherine Childry with Let's Vocalize. For over 35 years, I've coached vocalists and groups privately. I also perform vocal workshops training choirs. I'd love the opportunity to show you how direction, discipline, vocal health care, and regular practice can drastically improve you, your group, or your choir's performance. Call me at 706-536-6123 or visit us online at www.letsvocalize.com. I'd love to help you offer your best gift.
Yes, Toddy, the chocolate malt in a can.
It's so good hot. It's so good cold.
It hits the spot with young and old.
Yes, Toddy pleases everybody. Delicious chocolate malted toddy, made with rich, real milk, not powdered milk.
So come and get it, everybody. It's time to drink your chocolate toddy.
Delicious.
Hello and welcome back to the show. Special guest, Sabra Lucas. So we're going to get everything, because you've got a lot of stuff. We want to get everything, every way people can reach you for your products into one box that's easy to sort through.
Okay.
So where can people find you for your CD? What's the name of your CD?
It's just my first name, Sabra, and then number 5. The number is abbreviated, NO, period, and the number 5. And you can find that pretty much anywhere: eBay, Amazon, Spotify. You can plug in on Apple Music.
Cool.
You can get it on Facebook, Reverb Nation. It's pretty much everywhere. You Google it and find it.
Nice.
and the Gypsy Cherub.
And the Gypsy Cherub.
Yes, and the Gypsy
Your mom would
Chair.
kill me if I didn't say that.
And where can they say buy this?
That at the moment, I would say you would have to contact me on Facebook or by email, and that's just my name, sabralucas@gmail.com.
Cool.
Can do that.
And if you want to get in shape, how can they find you for that?
Again, you can contact me, and you can email me, or you can Facebook message me privately. Or if you want to go, I actually am a personal trainer at Max Fitness Elite. It's the big gym on Tower Road. It's right there on Veterans Parkway past I think that's a new bowling place right there, actually.
Oh.
It's across from B. Merrill's.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I work there, so you can walk in and ask to train under me.
Cool.
Yeah.
And look ahead, or be ready to get her book when it comes out, hopefully within a year. A little bit more about the book. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, if you want to keep in mind the name of it, so when you look for it, it's the series is called The Legend of Adrasia, the series. Each book will have its own name, and it'll be the title will be an island name, and this one is Gelanos. So Gelanos, The Legend of Adrasia, and then the next one will be Adrasia, The Legend of Adrasia. It's kind of
Cool.
So I created all the names, and they're spelled funky, so it might be a little complicated. But you can also Facebook or email me.
Cool. So yeah, Facebook, email. About your book now, with so many facets being in there, was it hard keeping everything in line? I know you made outlines and everything, but
what I ended up doing is creating a glossary for all of the words that I made up and what they are, and a definition for each one. So I've got a dictionary for all of that. I have an outline. I also have a lot of side notes, and I have them all categorized. I have an island fact sheet, so the name of the island and the culture, the trade, like everything about it, how big it is. Just like if you were going to go look up, pull up China and everything about it and all the facts about China. It's the same thing with all the islands. And so I have all the technicalities written down in specifics and under, titles. So, like, I've taken a year off of writing. So I have to go brush up on all of that before I get back into it. But because I've been so detailed behind the scenes, so to speak, it's easy just to pick right back up where I left off.
Right. Well, that's really good thinking.
Something a lot of writing.
Yeah.
So we're going to take this moment to go, thank you, God, for the invention of computers.
Pretty much, because my fingers work a lot faster than actually handwriting. If I had to handwrite, I'd be there forever.
Understood.
Now, Sabra, since you have so much going on and you've got some pretty good success coming your way as far as finishing these things and the networking you've done, what advice would you give to aspiring anybody? Since there's
painters,
so much,
writers,
writers,
artists.
I would say that stress is probably the biggest. Stress and stressing about the details a lot of times for me is one of the biggest hindrances.
Right.
Because if you stress too much about the painting, then suddenly all the feelings are gone, and when you don't have the feelings to go with it, then it's too rigid.
Right.
So, you do what you need to do to kind of relax and decompress before you do that, and just kind of get into that world, Right. And everybody has their thing. You might need to go to Starbucks to write and put in earbuds, or you might need to go into a room and close the door and have a beer and start painting. Everybody's got their own way of relaxing, but the biggest thing for me that I've really found with art is you have to just kind of let it go.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that, then your art ends up being too rigid. It doesn't flow, and it just doesn't feel as good. And even people that buy it that are very kind of by the book planners, not very feeling kind of people, even they won't like the painting as much as if you put your feelings into it, because there's something in it when you just kind of let it go. So letting it go is key for me.
Otherwise, you might as well just have a stamp and stamp.
Yeah.
Now,
and one other thing I would say, don't force it.
Don't force it.
Yeah. If you sit down and you really need to paint something, but you can't let it go, I would just close that book and do it another day.
That's interesting, because there are other people that say write until you feel like writing, write something every day, make yourself write, sort of thing.
Not for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Everybody's different.
When we had actually a author on a little while back named R.S. Williams, and she said that she actually went, wherever she went, she would write. It didn't matter if she used it or not, she would write.
Yeah.
And her biggest thing, she loved Evernote. So, it was everywhere. But I remember her saying that, just do it. And I guess it's kind of like she said, just let it flow.
Right.
And basically it's just like, just write. Mm-hmm. You never know if it's going to be good, bad, whatever, but you never know if you're going to recall it,
I think it's kind of to each his own. Everybody has to do it their way. Because if you don't, because we are all individuals, we all have our own personality. It's like a thumbprint. We don't have the same, so you can't copy someone else, because then it won't be you, and if it's not you, then your art won't look original and authentic. So you just kind of have to do what you need to do for you to actually make it work. I can't write every day. I can't force myself to sit down. I've actually tried that and literally deleted 40 pages before, just because it just didn't sound right. It was too robotic.
Right.
And
I'm like you. If I sit down and try to write something, if it's not coming, I just set it aside and go do something else.
So basically her book became a blog.
Right. So one last thing.
A little more organized than that, maybe.
Let's just say 20 years down the road, where would you like to see yourself as a writer with books, as an author, as a musician, successful musician, or fitness trainer?
I would say that I would have to pick two. I would definitely would like to be a successful author, and I will always fitness for me is like getting up in the morning and eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And you just
It's going to be there.
So
anyway.
I will always have fitness, whether or not I'm training. I don't know,
Right.
but I will always personally be into fitness.
Cool.
So, but as far as like my dreams of making bigger or successful, maybe I would definitely say writing. It's my number one passion.
Gotcha. Very cool. Well, Tim, you have anything else?
Yeah, one more time. Show us the guns one more time. There you go. Man, I need to work out bad.
Gonna go home and go do some curls. Well, Sabra, I appreciate you coming on
Thank
the
you
show.
so much for inviting me.
Oh, thank you for coming. You are the one that makes it happen. Tim, anything
Yeah,
else?
no, I know she has a house full of kids to get home to. So
I think that's about it. Until next time, I'm your host, Brian Mallard. Tim over there at the computer, and Sabra. We'll see you next time.
Well, actually, one more thing. Guys, next week we will not be here. We'll be the final holiday, I guess, of the summer season, be Labor Day.
Right.
So, we're letting you guys have a break. We're taking a break, but we'll be back the following Saturday with Christian Ortiz. So, join us. Enjoy the weekend next weekend, and thanks for joining us this weekend.
What he said.
There you go.